Hey everybody, we're back. That break took slightly longer than we expected because someone left himself muted.
Had to eat a sandwich.
So
That's a sandwich.
we have we left off. They were beginning the night watches, with Father Crow getting the first watch.
Anything of note happen while I'm watching?
Nothing of note now. It's a relatively uneventful night. You're guessing that the clattering and noise that the caravan had made was enough to scare off most of the wildlife nearby.
Yeah, I just keep the fire fed, and once enough time goes by, we'll wake him up and switch off with him.
Yep. Yeah. Pin, your watch is up.
Alright. One second. Alright, so I kind of rub the sleep out of my eyes and bumble over to the fire, try to warm up, wake myself up. I feel kind of bad for what I said to Palm. I'm just kind of, it's everything I'm thinking over in my head. And, she needs to grow up. She doesn't know what the world holds in store for
Totally do,
people who are naive.
but I don't say that out loud.
Which is why he watches over her as much as he does. Everything's going fine until this stupid wizard showed up and started waving tales about how our parents might still be alive. Even though it would be great if they were.
I'm assuming you're going over this in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, that stupid wizard is laying next to the fire reading.
Yeah, no, I am going over it in my head.
Okay.
But if I have to act it out though, I have to say it, otherwise this would be a very boring session.
Mm-hmm.
And even though I would love just to go home and hang up my adventuring hat, maybe, just maybe, there's a little bit of hope that maybe this wizard's right. Maybe our parents were alive for longer than we thought. He said they were in Destin. Anyway, I think my watch is up now, right?
Yep, your watch passes by uneventfully.
Alright. I feel bad for... Yeah, whatever. Alright. I'll go and, wake Palm up. And I kind of just mumble, sorry, it's your watch.
I just kind of growl at him.
Okay. Palm, your watch is up.
Palm is going to just gather her personal belongings and try to tiptoe out of the camp to make her way towards the stone.
Please tell me the wizard set up an alarm ritual.
No, but he is just sitting by the fire reading.
Yeah, alright.
She doesn't care if he's watching.
He doesn't make any motion to stop you.
Actually, I would stop just for a second and come back and be like, "Where's the stone?" Like, just point in a direction.
He'll pause reading for a second, sort of, close the book on his finger and say, well, if you take the northwest road out of Highford instead of the northeast one, and you just keep following that, you'll get to Ketton. If you keep going from Ketton, the only road leading out of Ketton, that wasn't the road you came in on, will take you to Distone.
Alright, thanks.
So, but it's about a month and a half, 2 months of travel.
Whatever.
Just letting you know.
So, Palm's gonna head that way. After
You've made it about half an hour into your trip, you realize that there's someone accompanying you.
What?
Yeah, no, there's a person just sort of traveling along next to you.
What?
Oh, it's the wizard. Just sort of gliding on, reading his book.
What?
You sound like Aaron.
It's just... So, to Stone. You going there?
Go away.
Well, just answer me this one question. Why are you walking away from your friends and your brother who cares about you so much?
Why are you following me?
I'm bored. My simulacrum's got watch.
What?
Oh, it's a body double. It's got some basic programming. It's designed to just keep watch. Anything gets too close that's not programmed to recognize it, raises an alarm.
Okay. I already don't trust you, but now I really don't trust you.
We'll shrug. We'll see. Well, that's fine. Don't trust me. But, it's your brother and your friend whose life is in the hands of that machine. Or that spell.
My brother can handle himself when he's not being a total jerk.
I'm sure he can. But imagine how devastating it would be if he lost his sister, too.
Well, he said I need to grow up, so I'm gonna go off and do something on my own for a change. So, I consider myself granting his request.
You know, you had to ask me, a person you don't completely trust, which way was Distone?
Yes, and you're not the only person in the world. I'm bound to run into other people who will happily answer my questions, who don't have body doubles and wear very weird rings on their fingers.
And you'll also run into other people who mean you great amounts of harm.
I can deliver quite an amount of harm myself.
Just saying, it'd be better to travel with your friends. And your family.
This DM speaker break the party and I'll fucking kill you.
I know, right?
Not at all. I'm perfectly content with you going off on your own, but he's just trying to be a voice of reason.
Rocks fall, everyone dies.
I don't remember her voice curse.
It was like the first time Jake heard me swear. And Jake was just like, oh my god, you can swear? But, no, he's just content and following you along. Or following along. He's just reading his book and floating along next to you.
I'm gonna swat at him.
And he
Go
just
away.
lazily lists to the left.
You're like a gnat at a picnic, and you're ruining my watermelon. Go away.
Well,
Run for it. You got a speed advantage for being
he will look up from the book and he'll say, that haven't heard me describe that as that before. That's a new one.
What, a gnat?
Yeah. Specifically a gnat
You're
ruining
a
your
pest.
watermelon.
And you're floating.
No? Does it disconcert,
away.
or is it disconcerting that I'm floating?
Go away. She's still walking, by the way.
Yeah, no, he's keeping up. So, well, just gonna keep following you.
Why?
I'll shrug. More interesting than just laying around reading.
You know I could set you on fire, right?
I'll shrug. I'll say, yeah, you could. Met a girl once who could completely electrify her body and shoot things at high velocities. Put a coin through my stomach once. Yeah, but yeah, you could set me on fire.
You're dumber than I thought.
To be fair, I think she was cheating. I think she was concealing her power.
Well, I don't need your company, nor do I want your company. So, go
Yeah.
away. If you don't go away, I'm just going to ignore you, so you're wasting your time.
Well, guess I won't tell you about all the stuff going on in Hargione, or what I had heard about it.
I like surprises.
Hargione, not Destone. Two different places. Hargione was the ruined city.
Well, Hargione is that way and does not contain my father, and Destone may possibly contain my father, so I'm going to Destone.
It's funny. They say all roads lead somewhere, and it's usually the same place.
You're talking out your ass.
Well, if you feel that way, it's a shame. Just remember, there's no shame in admitting you were wrong. No shame in asking your friends and your family for help.
Bye!
Well, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going with you.
Nope. I'm ignoring you.
And he keeps reading his book. And just, that's an interesting theory. Might have to try that out sometime. Fun talk. Wonderful, wonderful
walking.
talk. You do notice something. It is almost comical. You appear to have passed the same tree at least 2 times now.
I'd look around. Suspicious. I'd immediately turn and glare at, what's-his-face? Caldric. And ask him, what are you doing?
Me? Floating along, reading a book.
You're trying to confuse me.
Shrug. Am I? I'm just reading a book. It's an interesting
I know
book.
I've passed this spot before. At least once. Possibly more than that. But how is that possible? I've just been walking in a straight line.
At you mentioning that, he will snap the book shut and actually drop to the ground. Stop floating. And he will just dead stop. And he will begin looking around. And after about a minute, he will get an unsettled look. I'll say, well, you're on your own now. And he will vanish.
I blink. Right?
So, what now?
Well, Mom is a little concerned, though she'd never admit it to anyone else out loud. But now that the wizard's gone and she's actually alone, she's a bit uncertain.
At this point, you have traveled for about an hour. It's a lot slower than you thought it would be. But
Well, she's come this far now, so she bucks up her courage and keeps going.
another amount of time passes, another about 30 minutes, and you notice that tree. That same tree.
Turns out the tree is this tree right here.
Thanks for that. I'll
They-
log that away.
They end up... It's just... They planted trees in a cartoonish fashion so that they could keep, cycling the same map over and over.
I'd stop. Confused. I have been stubbornly persisting in a straight line for a while, just, if anything, to prove that I've been going in the same direction. I haven't been turning or looping or anything, so how I keep running into the same tree is bewildering me. So I'm going to go back. She's actually going to turn around directly and retrace her steps back the way she came, just to see what happens.
Oh, that's where it gets weird. As you trace your steps backwards, you make progress back towards the camp. After a certain amount of time, doesn't feel that long, you actually see the camp again.
Either he's actually doing something, or he's unintentionally causing something to happen. Either way, I'd give him the hairy eyeball.
You're still, about a football field away from the actual camp.
Oh, Tom's hairy eyeball can, penetrate the outer layers of space.
I see. But you see a figure next to the fire, reading, keeping watch. And
She'd come back to camp.
he will look up from his book and say, I'll wave happily.
She punches him in the face.
He has been punched in the face. He'll sort of cradle his face where he was punched and rub his hand over it. So, enjoy your walk.
Stop it.
I'm not doing anything. Been here reading
You're
this
doing
whole.
something.
Been here reading this whole time.
I'd snatch the book away from him and look at it.
Okay. Are you going to shut it and look at the cover? Are you going to look at the page he was on?
She's going to do everything. She's going to snatch the book away. She's going to kind of hold her finger in place where he was reading, but she's going to flip it over, look at the title, look at the author, flip it open, kind of skim through the front of the book to see, publication, author's notes, things like that. She kind of skimmed through it, looking for illustrations that might give away sort of what the book is about, either mechanical or fantastical, things of that nature. Either way, she's going to give the book a thorough flip through.
The book is entitled A Diverging Path. It has no title, or it has no listed author, and it has next to no publication information. While Ketten does have a printing press, it is exceptionally expensive to print books. This appears to be a hand-scribed version of this book. As for illustrations and mechanical stuff, it is a mixture of some amount of math and some amount of magic. It is a book that, as best you can tell, is on predictions of some sort. And it focuses on this concept of a divergence number. But other than that, it's very complicated. As to the point he's at the point he's at right now, it is actually just an illustrated page of a what's labeled as a choice tree.
I feel like I'm looking at the old WoW talent trees.
Yes, sort of. It's very similar to something like that, except much wider branching.
I'm gonna look at these branching illustrations to see what they're about.
It is at the smallest point, the initial, what it looks like to be the initial point. It has something labeled Choice A, and from there, it goes on and it goes, or Situation A, and it branches off into three choices: Choice A, Choice B, and Choice C. And from there, They each generate a situation, and each of those situations generate another 3 choices, and so on and so forth until the penmanship is no longer legible because it has become so small and so wide. But there are interconnecting lines between some of the choices and situations. It slowly becomes a very, very complicated diagram and collection of lines.
Mom doesn't like things she doesn't understand. Tom would snap the book shut, intentionally losing his place, just because. She'd give the book back to him, look at his ring again, and ask him, what is he up to? Why is he here? What is he really doing?
Well, I'm here right now and reading because it's safer for me to travel with a group. And as for what I'm doing, well, I'm reading.
But where are you traveling to, and why?
Ford.
Like, what? How'd you even get here? You got captured by bandits because you were spacing out. And now you're here. Doing what exactly?
Heading to my job, hoping for a nice, warm place to call home.
Your job?
Yeah, becoming a court mage. Cushy title, some small amount of land, research lab, money to pay for my research, maybe even some subjects and some help.
I still find it hard to believe you'd be so easily captured by a bunch of thugs, no less.
I'll shrug. Have you never gotten lost in a good book?
Well, Tom, of course, being an intellectual artificer, had spent many hours, many days, lost in books and research and experiments, many of which go awry, and Tim, her older brother, winds up taking the brunt of the punishment of those, because she's too oblivious to notice.
I'll shrug and say, I was reading to pass the time, and before I knew it, there were 6 of them, drawing weapons. Quite an interesting book I've been reading.
But why would they want to capture you? I understand why they'd want to capture a little entourage marching between the towns. You know, money, title, ransoms, things like that. But why you?
I'll hold up his ringed hand and I'll say, each of these rings are worth 100 gold. At the cheapest, probably. That's a lot of expense. And you will finally be able to see the 4 rings in detail. Each of them are bands. They have some amount of carving and writing across the bands. Each of them is a different metal. One of them is platinum, one of them is gold, one of them is silver, and one of them is bronze. But each of the rings have
ornate. I guessed all those in my head in order.
No, because that's a sensible thing as long as you start with platinum.
Yeah.
That and those are the 4 most commonly used metals for rings. But each of them have carvings and all that, and you'll say each of these are probably worth, to them at least, a small fortune. It's for keeping me around and alive. I don't know. Witness?
Well,
didn't want me to run off and warn the guards.
No offense, but if I was a bandit and I wanted your jewels, I would have just taken your hands and left the rest behind. And if I was afraid you'd crawl off and tattle on me, I'd take your head while I was at it. You were bound when we found you, in the back of a cart. If they wanted your rings, all they had to do was take them from you. I'm not about to believe that it's that simple.
He will actually reach into his bag, which is sitting next to him, and rummage about for a small book, and he will toss it to you.
Catch it. Look at it.
The book is called A Treatise on Banditry. I'll say, well, that might help explain some of it. So, perhaps they had some reason for wanting me, actually, but more than likely they were one of the types of bandits detailed in that book.
A book about bandits?
Mm-hmm. And say I can break it down for you personally if you'd like, or you can read through it. It's not that long of a read. Most of the pages in that are actually blank. It's a second or third edition of the book, I think.
Is this a written, basically, log of local bandits in the area?
No, it's a basically a research paper on banditry, for lack of a better words. Probably a bored noble wrote it once from what he had observed about bandits. But we'll see. That book sort of sums up the banditry issue. I'm thinking they were probably a Type 2 or Type 3 bandit. Group of bandits, rather.
So,
Oh, those are, Type 2 bandits are, those who do turn to banditry solely for the money. Generally, they don't have the violent impulses or, violent streaks that other bandits have. They, probably don't, or they usually don't take money, not money, don't take lives. Keep prisoners, throw them off somewhere where they're less likely to be able to cause problems for the bandit. Type 3 are political. Yeah. Kind of similar to the money ones. They're usually unhappy with rulership, stuff like that. And generally, the people that they take or if they take prisoners for a reason. Could be that they knew I was going to be a court mage. You know, cut off a powerful mage, or cut off a noble from some sort of powerful mage, and they become less of a challenge. They're just a regular man.
I suppose that explains a lot about the bandits, at least philosophically speaking. But it still doesn't explain much about you. What about that other ring on your finger?
It was a beautiful gem sold to me by someone while I was working as a jewel crafter. Said it brought him.
The story, but looking at it, I don't believe it's just a bad luck token. I mean, it looks so strange, and it has to do something. No offense, I'm really interested in magical devices and things of that nature, so I can't help but be curious, but you can see why I would not trust you for wearing it.
Shrug, and I'll say, well, I looked into if other gems like this existed. There's a few cases of them. For a period of time, it looked like they had once done something, but recently it just appears that they're strange, semi-magical type gem. The only magic about them is the flickering nature of the colors.
I'll give you one thing, Mr. Mage. You're a great liar.
He will smile and say, best way to not get caught in a lie? Not tell one.
Well, Tom's watch, I'm sure, would be almost over by that point.
Yep, people are beginning to stir at this point.
I just picture the book being written by Steve Irwin. So, look at the size of this binding.
The person who wrote it is basically just Steve Irwin. As an aside, the guy was an idiot. He like, I'm not saying Steve Irwin was an idiot. He kind of was for all that provocation of the animals. But basically, the person who wrote the book on the bandits was a grade A thrill-seeking idiot. The book about banditry does actually have a written author on the title, or on the title page. I don't actually remember his name, though. Something Herman. But yes.
You say Pee, I'm gonna hit you.
No, it's not Pee Wee Herman. It's also not even spelled the way that Pee Wee Herman spells it. It's spelled in the correct manner, which means warrior man. It's Herrrman.
So, warrior man.
It's also German. German word. Now, people have begun to awaken. Some of the prisoners are the first ones to get up. Few of them, think they're being sneaky and stealthy and, attempt to slink off, but the mage just sort of waves a finger and they trip over.
Crow would wake up and gesture to everyone, and Palm, who is stay the night watching for all he knew. And then we would look over at the prisoners and see how their wounds are coming along.
Almost all of them are except for Delvin. Almost all of them have healed completely. Well, that's why that took so long to load.
I guess Tim will wake up and roll out of the tent and just kind of look around and like, oh yeah, this happened. And start packing up, I guess, and getting everything ready to travel back to town.
Yeah, same here. Feed the bandits with some of those provisions, and then begin to tie Carl to one of the carts. And when everyone's ready, to head out for Hillfort again.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be a little chilly in the morning. Palm would be a bit sleep deprived, very grumpy from the night before, cold, distant, ignoring Pim, ignoring him hard.
So yeah.
He's so ignoring you.
I guess we should probably head out then.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's head back to town. I'm gonna pull up rear guard so I can keep an eye on the ruffians tied up to the wagon. And if any of them attempt to make a break for it, I'm just gonna ready my lightning spell, tase the shit out of them.
Don't tase me, bro.
Palm's gonna be lazy and just sleep in the wagon.
You notice as you make your trip through the day, you make great time. You thought you'd be slowed down and bogged down by all the people you're transporting, but if anything, it looks like you're traveling faster.
Do I notice this?
You notice it, yeah. Yeah, you notice that it took you less time to get from here to the bandit camp than it took you to get from the bandit camp here. And there isn't, it's not like it's downhill or anything, it's mostly flat.
Yeah, I kind of just look at, what's his name? Caldric? Yeah, and I just kind of just smirk.
He looks exceptionally uneasy right now.
Well, that makes me uneasy. So I kind of perk up and start eyeing my surroundings. How far away from town are we?
At this point, given your current rate of travel, you'll be there by the end of the day.
At what time is it?
At this point, it's probably 9 or 10, or about 10 or 11 in the morning.
Oh. Well,
Hungry.
yeah, I'm just gonna I don't know, I'm gonna work my way up towards Caldric then. And on the way past the wagon, I'm gonna drop some journey bread in the wagon and keep walking up to Caldric.
I still need to look up how long journey bread is actually supposed to last.
It lasts forever.
It doesn't ever specify in either of the write-ups for it. But, Caldric will, nod to you as you ride up to him.
Now I picture Monty Python because he doesn't have a horse.
Yep. He's got coconuts banging him together. So does Caldric. Does this work? No, that sounds terrible.
What are you trying to do?
The coconut thing from the beginning of Monty Python and the Quest for the Holy Grail.
Oh, is it?
Yep. I started banging together 2 soda cans that I have sitting on my desk. They do not make a good substitute for coconuts. But yeah, Caldric will nod as you approach.
Oh, so I kind of just look at him and I'm like, what's wrong? Like, what are you uneasy about?
He'll shake his head and say, I think it's nothing. It's just we made some really good time today. Not what I was expecting.
That wasn't you?
No?
Oh.
Tom would kind of peek her head out of the wagon where she's been riding, and she's like, well, that's kind of funny. Because last night on my walk,
And I'm gonna look back and walk?
Yeah. Walk. You know, that thing you do with your feet.
No, the thing you're not doing with your feet right now?
Yeah, that thing.
That thing that you sometimes do with your feet.
On my walk, despite walking in a straight line persistently, I still somehow kept winding up by the same tree. And when I finally doubled back, I just sort of stumbled right back into the camp, as if something was intentionally warping the environment around me to make sure I couldn't wander off. And I glare at both of them, like him and Caldric.
He'll put his hands up, defensively. Just, I'm an enchanter. I don't dabble in that kind of stuff.
Says the doppelganger.
Well, let's just stay alert and get back to town as soon as possible.
I'm hungry.
I gave you journey bread.
I don't want journey bread.
Well, I didn't bring anything else.
We've been eating journey bread for days.
It's good for you. It has electrolytes.
I need meat.
That's what she said.
I knew it. I'd be disappointed if someone didn't say it.
That's what she said. Anyway, I just look at Tom and I'm like, we'll be back in town before night's fall, so you can pig out when we get home. Give me my journey get back.
I go back to ignoring him.
But I'm gonna fall back to the rear again. Remain guard over the people.
Some time passes, and as you know yourself getting closer to the city, you do also feel a sense of uneasiness as well. There's just something off-putting.
Yeah, like I said, I just gotta stay alert. And
You
I don't like feeling uneasy.
You finally make your way back into town. It's just a little past sunset. And you have returned to town. There's a few guards there, and they look sort of surprised and relieved that you've made it back. And they will begin, summoning other guards and begin taking the prisoners. And, the Baron is actually there at the edge of town waiting for you. And since I have a map for this, let's just put everyone back onto this map. Move players to one map. Get zoned back to previous map. The Baron. Dr. Baron von Evil Satan.
Right?
Alright, so I guess we'll walk up to the Baron. And I'm like, hail, we've returned, grizzled veterans of the wilds. I don't actually say that, but...
I'm reminded of a scene from Red vs. Blue. I did hard time, man. It changes you. We were in there for less than, 2 hours. Prison changes a man. Let's go knock up a liquor store on the way home. He will offer his hand in greetings and say, he'll look you over and he'll look over Caldric and say, I wasn't expecting you here for another few days.
I just kind of look at the Baron.
How can
Look
you
at
be
Caldric.
expected?
Like,
You know the Baron hired Caldric, right? And he was expecting him to make his journey from Orland here?
Yeah, but not tied up in the back of a
He was
bleepity bleep
captured
wagon.
en route. He
Yeah.
was captured leaving Orland.
Yeah, no. Caldric was captured on his way to Highford.
what powerful wizard doesn't teleport places?
Really? I know.
Enchanters? People who don't like teleportation?
He can enchant himself.
To teleport.
Teleportation is conjuration. As strange as that is.
Don't look at me with that tone of voice.
Is this any better?
Now, I'm not a fan of teleportation myself. It's always made me uneasy. Bit of my skin crawling. In one case, quite literally, unfortunately.
Ooh,
Had some bad experiences with teleportation.
Yeah, so we found old Caldric there, tied up and gagged on the back of a bandit's wagon. Yep, we saved him. No, I'm not gonna say that. We came across him and he just happened to travel with us. We didn't really know you were expecting him. Your Baron Majesty.
Lord. Your
Lord.
lordship.
Your Lord Dick ship.
Welcome to English nobility titles. Everything's made up and the points don't matter. He will begin, he'll motion for everyone to follow him, and he'll begin heading up to his estate. His estate, which is called something. Which is just called Highford on the Hill. Highford on the Hill, which is the name of his.
Random.
What?
Random.
Why is there a D20? But he will beckon for all of you to follow him up to his manor.
You said Highford on the hill?
Yep.
Okay.
He will invite everyone inside and say, "Come, it's not Let us partake in a meal together, and then I will provide you your rewards."
I just kind of look at Palm and I'm like, you said meat.
Let's go.
And Palm's construct, did she bring the injured gentleman back?
Yeah,
Tom's construct went to the town we just came from. With the messages, letting them know where we were, what was going on, that we were attacked on the road.
Yeah, that's hopeful.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
this town.
Yeah, so
Yes.
I'm asking the Baron how he's doing,
Oh.
if he knows about it.
He is currently at the priory, but it does not look good. But we'll say the constra or the messenger did arrive and make it here. And he will, direct you to where the feasting hall is, and he will, nod and say, "I will catch up with you in a moment. I need to discuss some arrangements with Caldric."
And I'm going to turn to the others and say, I'll head to the priory then. I need to see of his welfare, and I'll meet up with you two later. You two attend the Baron's ceremony.
Let's...
Okay.
Oh, wait. Food.
Good food too. After a few minutes of sitting at being ushered into the feasting hall and being sat at the table, the Baron and Caldric will enter. A few more people will attend the dinner. It is mostly just Baron Drythray's family, his wife and his 3 children. They have a few of the knights that you had helped at the edge of town are he present. And he will offer the customary tradition of breaking the bread and providing drinks to all, and reciting.
Oh my god. Mom would be so impatient through all this. Like, she would just be
It's not.
squirming.
It's not long. Once he breaks the bread, you can eat. But he breaks the bread, and he recites the. What is it? It's the oath of the rights of guesthood. And as he pours you each a drink. Basically, as long as you eat his food and drink his offered drinks, you have complete protection. It's a strange custom, but they follow it fairly well.
Mom, pigs out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good leafy greens. They had a fresh boar that they it's not completely fresh. They did cook it well, but he will say that they caught it out while on the hunt today. And there's a whole bunch of other sort of exotic fruits, exotic spices, basically a lot of exotic foods. And he, as the eating continues, he will, repeatedly thank you for what you've done for the town. Barony. It's a barony.
Who's he talking to?
You two.
Oh.
You can't hear us. Somebody stuck my face.
I just, I nod my head and thank him. And, Highford is home, so we would do anything to help protect it. We didn't do not anything that anyone else wouldn't do, so.
He'll nod, and eventually, the meal will come to an end with a lavish dessert. And, after the dessert...
Yes.
After the dessert, he will provide he will produce a satchel filled with coin and a smaller like knapsack style thing filled with a few odds and ends and trinkets. He will provide them for you. He'll say, "This is what we mustered as the bounty."
I'm like, thank you. But really, we don't need it.
He'll shake his head and say, "The coin is of next to no importance to me, and trinkets I would never find a use for them. I'm sure you lot can."
Okay, so I just graciously accept it, and
Yep.
that's that.
I will just copy this all to you. Oops, no, don't go searching for Elgir or Eglir. Send the message. He will look around and say, I thought there were, I know that Father Crow would be more than likely to skip this and go to his priory to attend to those who needed him, but wasn't there another with you?
No, well, are you talking about the Goliath?
Ah, is that what he calls himself? Yes, him.
Or, I mean, the giant. Because I don't know what he calls himself.
Yeah.
Do you know him?
I've known of him. He's been out this side of the town for a little while. It's hard to not hear stories of him. Giant man, 8 foot tall, wanders around occasionally. Peasants talk, I listen. It's been a lot of complaints, but he's never done anything other than some basic hunting.
I didn't even know there was a giant lizard in
I like, Palm, stop eating and talking with your mouth full.
Not my old dad.
Ugh. We ran into him during a small bandit camp a little bit outside of town. After we got everything under control, he just took off, so we're not sure where he went.
It's a shame. I'll have to go track him down and see if I can secure his services. And I'll nod and say, however, I have finished up my my meal for the day, and I need to attend to business matters, so enjoy yourself and finish up and spend as much time as you'd like before leaving.
Will do.
And he will depart. A minute or two afterwards, Caldric will excuse himself as well. You notice that Caldric almost ate almost nothing throughout the entire meal.
Interesting.
There's probably a stupid doppelganger sitting there. There's probably a stupid doppelganger sitting there.
Yep. Maybe. Although he does enjoy the dessert very much. The dessert is a very interesting thing. And filled with alcohol. It's tiramisu. I also want to note that dessert also probably cost 100 gold pieces to make. Because rum is not cheap in the area. Nor is coffee, nor is most of the stuff you need to make tiramisu. But,
well, it's been a long past couple days, and I need rest. So, Pim's going to retreat, I think, to the house.
Yeah, Palm is very full and ready for a nap. She has the itis.
Well, I think this is a good point to end it. Unless anyone has any objections.
No, I don't
Seems
think
like a
so.
good fun.
Okay. We will return next week, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. See you guys then. This has been the Basements and Bears podcast.